Welcome to the Feeling Loudly podcast, a show about human emotion and the way we navigate this life of trials and triggers and treasures with the help of astrology and tarot. I'm your host, Jana. I'm an astrologer, a tarot reader, and an Akashic Records reader, and I'm here to help you do this messy life with as much grace, ease, and pleasure as possible. Hi, friends. Happy new moon in Pisces. If you're anywhere in the vicinity of the ether that I'm swimming in, there's so much. Hopefully you can't hear my dishwasher in the background, but maybe you can, and maybe that's just how it's meant to be today. I was not planning on releasing a podcast episode. And in fact, I was imagining maybe scaling back a little bit for the rest of Pisces season and Aries season, since Aries is my 12th house and it can be a very sleepy and withdrawn time of year for me. But today, March 10th, the day of our Pisces New Moon, also happens to be day one of our 22 Days of Tarot challenge, which I'm hosting via email and in my Discord. And I sat down for my own daily practice this morning. Today is the first day, so our card is the Fool, card 0 of the Major Arcana. And if you haven't heard me talk about this challenge, this is our second annual experience, or second annual journey. And what we do is we spend 22 days working with the majors, one by one, starting with the Fool again, all the way through the world. And it's not a learning experience. It's not a teaching experience. It's not a course. It's just a journey. And the participants get a daily email with a prompt, a specific question or statement to offer their deck. And then they pull their card and they sit with it and they hold it and they feel into it and they experience the sensations that wash over their body before even looking at the imagery. And then we open our eyes and we take it in and we look at the images and we allow them to speak to us. And it's a different way of interacting with the tarot than I think a lot of us typically do. If you're a reader yourself, if you're someone who's been working with the tarot for a long time, you might find that it becomes kind of automatic. And just like anything else, when you become more skilled at something, you also become faster at it. And so your time to kind of process and be present with a card really gets often reduced to the point that you just have these like little kind of synapses that fire and that tell you an answer very quickly. And that's beautiful. And that can be its own form of magic. And I think sometimes the deeper we get into a practice, the more we can kind of reduce as opposed to expand. And so in many ways, this journey is meant to help us expand. And so the reason I'm giving this long preamble is because as part of my practice, just occurred to me in the last 5 minutes that I want to share daily reflections via my podcast for the next 22 days about each of the major arcana. And this is a way of bringing you into the experience that I'm having with the cards, the experience that I'm having with this language of tarot, which is such a beautiful one. And I think it's a powerful way to gain insight into our day-to-day experiences and the synchronicities that emerge when we set off on an intentional journey, which is very much what this is. And so I'm crossing my fingers that I can keep this up and do 22 days of mini episodes that are maybe like 5 to 10 minutes each with reflections on each of the majors. So here we go. And for those of you wondering, the challenge is closed, and so we're not taking more participants, but this, again, is an annual experience, and I'll very likely host other journeys like this throughout this year because I really love doing this, and it's like really, really fulfilling and beautiful to see people engaging so deeply and coming together to kind of co-create a whole new body of understanding, which is what we're doing in Discord and as individuals who are journeying here. So if you're a part of this, yay, I'm so happy to have you. And if you're not, again, feel free to sign up for my email list or like join my Discord. The links are both in the description. Follow me on social. I announce all that stuff in those various places. Anyway, enough rambling. Let's get into it. So today's card is the Fool, 0. And for today's exercise, I went through the process I mentioned, sitting deeply with it, connecting with the card before I even opened my eyes, asking the prompt. And today's prompt was, tell me something I don't know. And as I sat with that prompt before even touching my card, I immediately started crying. And I felt this sense of vastness, because there was at once like this feeling that there's like, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. The world is huge. The universe is huge. And then that was quickly followed by, you are as old as the stars. And you are as old as the ocean. And I saw this vision of my heart just like blasting open into particles and into stardust, and feeling this incredible connection with the galaxy. And it was so like, intense and beautiful. And I was just trying to kind of stay in that space without going into thought and narrative. I often have a judgmental voice that creeps in when I'm really connecting in this way. And I was able to kind of like put it aside and keep coming back and keep coming back. And I swum between this feeling of being kind of suspended among the stars and then drifting on the ocean. And I saw myself on this plank. And at this point, I may have picked up the card. It's hard to even remember, but I definitely haven't looked at it yet. And I was like floating on the ocean on this plank of wood, and it was nighttime. And that's a scary place for me. I love the ocean, but I also have deep respect and like healthy fear of the ocean. And floating in the middle of the ocean in the middle of the night is not exactly a comforting thought to me, especially not on like a flimsy piece of wood. And then I heard again in that moment, you are the ocean. The ocean is you. You are as old as the ocean. And I heard there's nothing to fear here because it is a part of you. And I imagined these sharks swimming below and whales and like sea creatures and the depths of the ocean and how overwhelming that can feel. And then I was taken back up into the galaxy and this idea of being like an astronaut floating in space and feeling the intensity of that experience, of that suspension and just the vastness. And it took me into the 12th house. And the courage and the surrender that's required there. And so I kept like kind of moving between these spaces. And then when I finally looked at the card, and I'm using Taylor Ursula's Portals tarot deck, incredible deck. I used it for last year's challenge, and so the imagery was all completely new to me last year, and I got to experience each card for the first time literally as I was holding it, which was absolutely magical. And I'm very familiar with this card, but with this deck, but it's such an intuitive experience that today when I looked at it, I had a completely new experience of the Fool. I opened my eyes and I saw an eye that contained the galaxy surrounded by the ocean. And that imagery had to have occurred to me before, but at the same time, it felt completely new. And I was looking at it and just sort of stunned by how precise those images had come through, the images of the galaxy and the ocean. But it was like so familiar to me at the same time. And it took me back exactly into that introductory message of, you are as old as the stars, you are as old as the ocean. And that feeling of both nothingness and everythingness at the same time, of knowing nothing and knowing everything, of being sort of blown apart by the vastness. And we're going to have some barky barks in the background. Paparoni. It's just organic today. I'm not adding this out. I never really do, but we'll see if she starts going off. I might have to. And so I'm oscillating between these two spaces of knowing and not knowing, of the known and the unknown. And it's so on point with the message of the Fool. The courage that it takes to step into the unknown, to step into the vastness of it all, while also having this support and this safety in knowing that somehow you've been here before, that somehow you already have what you need within you. Even if it's a solo journey, even if you're on your own, even if you're doing something that, as far as you know, you've never done in your entire life, there's still some wisdom that you contain within you that is as old as the ocean and as old as the stars. And that just feels like such a Piscean message as we come into this new moon in Pisces, a beginning and an ending, a new beginning in the final sign of the zodiac, an oceanic sign, as old as the ocean and as old as the stars. And so my final little share of magic is that the second part of this, our daily prompts and these emails that come out, is a little intuitive exercise that we can do as a bonus if you want to. And today's is shufflemancy. So going to a playlist, enabling shuffle, repeating your prompt out loud, and then hitting play and just receiving any messages that come through in the lyrics of the song or in the notes and the music and the sounds. And my song was Zombie Girl by Adrienne Lenker, which is a beautiful song, and I highly recommend listening to it after this if you're interested in being in it with me. And this song is gorgeous, and the lyrics are so potent. And there's this repetition of this idea of questions. And let me see if I can actually just read the lyrics to you. So it goes, what a dream that was. I almost couldn't wake because I was frozen in bed with a zombie girl, vacant as a closed down fair. Sleep paralysis. I sworn I could have felt you there, and I almost could have kissed your hair, but the emptiness withdrew me from any kind of wishful prayer. Oh, emptiness, tell me about your nature. Maybe I've been getting you wrong. I cover you with questions, cover you with explanations, cover you with music. Then the next night, dreaming I could feel your skin, but the dream escaped so easily, and I woke up to the road again. How your words ring through, something kind of sweet and blue, and I knew that you'd been understanding everything that I'd said to you. About emptiness. Tell me about your nature. Maybe I've been getting you wrong. I cover you with questions, cover you with explanations, cover you with music. What's on your mind? On your mind. And I think there's a lot of really powerful symbolism there, just in the words. I cover you with questions, cover you with explanations, cover you with music. Maybe I've been getting you wrong. And in many ways, that is the essence of what we're exploring through these 22 days, is how we kind of leap to find answers. And the Fool might at times leap to find answers and to find certainty, because there is this fear of the vastness. But then there's something here about dreams and resonance and understanding, and how when we kind of sink back into ourselves and sink back into our knowing and our senses, it helps us move beyond that like really hungry intellectual desire to just have it all figured out, to explain it all away, to have the answers, to have the precision, to put a period at the end of the sentence. And I listened to that and it was gorgeous. And then the final invitation was to go watch the music video that corresponded to the song. And so I did that too. And it's this video of Adrian Linker kind of cutting between Adrian playing guitar, singing the song, and then moving through this like misty forest that then transitions into the sunlit forest. And almost exactly, it was the imagery that I guided attendees through last night. We did a Pisces New Moon circle, and we did an intuitive journey to connect with a fearful part of ourselves that felt like uncertainty and that felt the sense of crumbling and fear, and to reclaim and connect with a sense of hope and a sense of being held. And the imagery and the environment in this video was so evocative. I didn't experience the journey in the same way because I was guiding people through it, but I'm going to listen to it and go through it myself this evening. But it felt like that forest took me there. It was so on the nose and like giving imagery to exactly what had come through intuitively last night. And it just felt so powerful to see that. So I'm going to leave you there. I'm going to drop a link to the song, and I'll drop a link to the video. And Taylor Ursula gave me permission to share images from their deck in the journey, but I'm not comfortable sharing the images publicly. So I will also link to Taylor's deck in the event that you want to support their work and their absolutely incredible deck. I said journey. It's also a journey. And again, if you are interested in joining a future one, please do sign up for my email list. And I don't really feel like talking about the transits because I don't think it's necessary on a Pisces new moon. Breaking free a little bit here. It is the Fool Day after all. So I'm going to leave you there, and you can find all of my links below if you want to find me elsewhere and chit chat. All right. Happy new moon, y'all. Bye.